Hi there and welcome to Stamping in the Barnyard. Thank you so much for visiting my channel today. If this is your first time with me, I just want to give you a special welcome and ask that you might visit some of my other videos that I've put up and give me a few likes, maybe subscribe, that would be great. Comment is always an encouragement to me. And if you are a returning visitor, thank you so much. It does mean a lot to me to have people come back. It gives me the impression that you are enjoying my videos or liking my cards, and that means a lot to me. This is actually card number 4 in my series of cards that I am making with the fully flowering ephemera pack that Stampin' Up sells. I wasn't that interested in it when they first came out a year ago now, because the flowers and the leaves, etc., are already die cut, stamped, colored, and I thought that took away a lot of the fun. But I do like special fancy folds, and I realized that by having these already cut out, colored, and stamped, if you like, that it actually made it much quicker for me to put together some fancy folds. So the first few cards that I have in the series are fancy folds. Here's another one that I would consider to be a fancy fold. The sample that I'm showing you right now is not the card that I'm going to take you through, but I did want to tell you that when I came across the black and white ones in the fully flowering ephemera pack, and you'll see that there's more in here, I was actually kind of disappointed because I was liking the fact that I didn't have to do that. And then I made my Mother's Day card, which I'll show you at the end of this video. But I used the same rose flower and I colored it up in pinks rather than the yellows here. But I really liked the way they came out, and then I realized I could coordinate the colors that I choose for these flowers with the designer series paper that I want to use. So I knew I wanted to share this card with you, and so I did want to let you know that for this card, I used the designer series paper called Floral Delight, and they have the Lemon Lolly, the Daffodil Delight, and the Old Olive. So I colored this in Old Olive and Daffodil Delight, and I put it on some Lemon Lolly cardstock. And I really am so pleased with how this came out. And I think this would also make a really great thinking of you or get well card, as well as a birthday card, a thank you card. And I have a little bit of that I'll show you at the end of some of the other cards I made using this fold. I love that you get the mirrored images with some of, well, because you get 2 of every flower, every image in the fully flowering ephemera pack, you get 2 of each. So that's why I could put them on here and make this sort of framed look for this card, which I really like. I did want to tell you that in my series of cards that I'm making, especially if you're a first timer on that series, that I'm making cards using flowers from this pack, but what I'm doing is I'm not repeating any of the flowers. So if you follow along with all of these videos and you have a pack of this, you will be able to make all of these cards with just the one pack that you bought. So I did want to make that point clear to you. So today, the card that I'm going to make, same fold. I'm still using the ephemera pack, but I'm going to use these pinkish flowers with these strawberries that are not quite ripe yet. And I'm going to make this fold with these pieces from the ephemera pack. And I am going to use, believe it or not, the Turtley Cute DSP. I wanted to show you, this is already cut up and I put it on one of my sticky pieces here to show you this, but one 6x6, so if you have 6x6 paper that you were hoping to make a card with, you can do that. I'm going to show you how one 6x6 gives you all the pieces you need to cover this card. I'm also going to show you how to fold and score the card. So I have here today some Granny Apple Green. I did want to point out that both Turtley Cute and Floral Delight DSP are part of Sweets, so you could get them buy one get one half price this month here in June. but I thought I would take you through how to prepare the piece of cardstock to make this fold. So what I have here is my Simply Score board, which I love. If you don't have one of these, you should. They just make life so much easier. And what we're gonna do is, you do use this whole piece of cardstock for one card, but it is a nice fold and it does fold up and fit in our envelope. So I really wanted to share it with you. I like it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take and you're gonna score this at 1 3/4, and then again at 3 1/2. And you could just turn that around and do it at 1 3/4 and 3 1/2, or you can do it at 7 1/2 and 9 1/4. It's really the same thing on both sides, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's how you're gonna score that full sheet of paper to begin with. And then you are going to cut it at 5 1/2, which is our normal card height. I'm gonna put it in here, and at 5 1/2. You've got, this will be your card base. I'll show you how to fold it. And then you have 3 inches left with those same score lines. And you're gonna take, and you need 1 inch and 2 that are 1 inch by 11. All of the measurements are in the description box underneath the video. You do get a spare, dropping things here. You do get a spare 1 inch if you need it, because you only need the 2. And so this is what you get left that you don't really need, that's part of your card that we're making. Now, once you have these, you'll see that these are scored exactly the same as these pieces, but you can cut off on one side, just cut off at the second score line. So you have the one at 1 1/2 and then the one at 3 3/4, and no, I'm sorry, 1 3/4 and 3 1/2. And then you cut off the other 2 pieces that are there, and you're gonna do the same thing to your other piece. And you're just gonna cut that off. So that you see what I'm saying is, like, there's still a score mark in here. So you're gonna cut off that piece on both of your strips. And I'm just gonna straighten that out a little bit, okay? So now we have 2 pieces of those and your base card, which is great. So the first thing you wanna do is get your bone folder and give them some good creases. Is it burnishing? Some nice burnishing so they fold really well. So you can see that it folds in, and you should end up with this 1/2 inch strip down the middle there. Put that aside, and you do want to put all of this part together before you actually add the designer series paper on there. So we're gonna score this, not score it, we're gonna burnish it. And this is where it's a lot like our, wish I could remember what we call those cards. It's a lot like those, but you have 2 of them folded exactly the same. It's a little bit different. I don't know, Z fold maybe? I think they are Z fold. And there's our Z, right? So maybe it's a double Z fold card. Anyway, here we go. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take one at the bottom, and you're gonna take the long strip, and you're gonna adhere it to this flap, and then you're gonna adhere the other half of this right to the inside of this fold. So I like to put my adhesive on the bottom here because then I know I'm not going too far over, whereas if you put it on here and you do it too far over, it's going to adhere to the inside of the card when you fold it. So this is how you get that right. I love our green glue. Gives you a chance to move it. You want to make sure it's flush to the bottom. And I do like to fold my card at several stages to make sure it's folding. And so now with this piece, we are gonna, now I don't have a sample of the card yet that I'm making today with you. I just believe in my head that it's gonna come out looking nice, but either way, you can use the information I gave you to make one just like the yellow roses, or you can come up with your own combination, either using the roses or some other flowers that are in your pack. Although I do want to remind you to check out this is why you want to fold it each time, because I might have brought that in a little too close and I want to make sure that it will still fold. Okay, and then basically you turn it around and then you're going to do the same thing on the left hand side. Okay, so yeah, I just am hoping that what I have in my head for the Turtley Cute Designer Series paper and the strawberry flowers from the ephemera pack are going to come out nice, and I do kind of have that much confidence in this fold, because the fold itself is such a wow. Okay, and then I'm going to put some adhesive on this side. And we'll put this in here. And as I said, always make sure at each stage of the card making, you try folding it to make sure it folds. And then you can put all your pieces on. In fact, I told you that I already cut the Designer Series paper, and I don't think I butt this up quite as much as I could have, which is why you want to fold it as you do each time. You can see that it's coming a little bit. It's actually good because it's going to help it to fold when the time comes. But it does mean that when we use the Designer Series paper, I may decide to trim it a little bit. So we will see. Okay. So I did want to show you, here are the flowers. Whoops. I did want to show you that this just uses a 6x6 piece of Designer Series paper. Now this is a 12x12 and I've already cut it. You'll see that when I pull up the pieces. But I did want you to see that a 6x6 will cover this whole card front that we want covered for this card. And so if you have some Designer Series paper that you want to use that is 6x6, then I just wanted you to see. And as I pull these off, you'll see how I cut it. For example, the first thing I cut was this, so that all of it is at 5 1/4. So this is just a 3/4 inch strip that I cut off the bottom. So that leaves me a 1 1/2 inch strip here. Which I am going to, I didn't realize how much this was going to curl. I did that to try to show you how that works. But anyway, this will go on here. Don't be afraid to use the back sides of some of our Designer Series paper that has a theme to it. I actually really liked a lot of the reverse sides of this Turtley Cute paper. And it doesn't matter if you don't have any turtles in the actual end product when you're using the reverse side. There were so many cute little prints in there. In fact, I'm pretty sure I used Turtley Cute Designer Series paper on one of my other cards in this series. The striped one, it's part of the vase in one of the cards I made. Where you open up the card and the vase comes out. If you haven't seen it, you must check it out. Okay. So now there should be another piece here that's also cut at 1.5 and 5 1/4. Oops, that's okay. That was already cut. I've just lost my place on here. It must be here. I thought this was such a good idea to cut it in advance so that you can see. I know I appreciate knowing that I can cut a 6x6 a certain way and finish a card. So I'm going to put this one on this side. And you do want to do these flaps first because you're covering up where you put this line here. Not line, where you put that strip. You're kind of putting your DSP over it. So these are the first two pieces I cover. But see, this is a cute design. It's supposed to mock a turtle shell, but it's just a cute design too. There we go. Okay, so the next pieces I want to get in here are, trying to find them on here. I think, yeah, they must be these pieces where I had that little, because there is going to be some left over. You know, there's already that strip that's 3/4 by 6 inches. But here's another piece, and it's going to go right in here. All these dimensions are on the site, but how to cut them to get it might not, you know, I just put the dimensions down. But if you look at how I did that, that might work. Now here's where, but I think I'm okay with that. It comes right to the end, and I'm good with that. Okay, now we'll turn it this way. And we have another strip of that here. And this works even if you have a directional to your designer series paper. And I'll show you that in some of the last cards that I'll show you at the end here if you want to stay with me to see that. So again, I butt it up next to the edge of the bottom one. That one's a little bit too, well, that's gonna have the, so that works too. Okay, and then I have 3 pieces for in here. So let's see if I can find them. Yep. So that would be a total of 6, 3 on the top, 3 at the bottom. So you have 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, oh, let's see. Well, that's not it, and these two aren't it. So I think what I do is I cut it from this strip. That would make sense. So it's 1.5 inches, and then I'll have all 6 of mine. I guess I forgot to cut that one. But you can still see that it is enough from a 6x6 piece. So here's 1.5. You still have this in case you make a mistake along the way. What you are left with when it's all said and done is this much of your 6x6. Okay. I just know I like to know if a 6x6 can be cut to make a whole card or not. I prefer 12x12 paper for that reason. It gives me more cutting options, but sometimes I just really like the print on the 6x6. And so I just appreciate the cards that I can still make using that. And this will end up giving just such a nice frame for the center piece. On this one today, I think I'm going to make it a birthday card, but I'm going to use a different stamp set, and I'll give you my thoughts on why I did that as I stamp that up for you, and talk about the two different stamp sets I've used on the cards so far. There we go. Maybe a little higher. And then here, 3 more to go. Start with this one. And then finally this last piece. And you know, when you're cutting them up, it's a lot of pieces to cut up, but it's easy to cut up once you've just got the 1 6x6 in your hand and on your cutter to just get them all done. So there we are. It can either fold that way or it can fold this way. But that's basically the fold and how you cover the DSP. I'm gonna want to put these flowers here and these flowers here, and you'll see that they'll frame pretty nicely the inside, which gets lightened up because I've got this white piece here that's gonna go in the center. And you see, then we'll put these on and these on, and then we have the card. So I am going to stamp this now with, I'm using the Pattern of Friendship stamp set, which is an online exclusive. I really like a lot of the sayings on the inside of it. I think they're great for friends, but also family. And it's got a happy birthday. And I think the size of it is really nice. On this one that I showed you earlier, I used the, here we go. I used the Layered Thoughts, which is also really nice. And it's got thank you. And I'll show you a card at the end where I use the thank you. And then we have happy birthday to you is on this one. And I think thinking of you or love you, they all work on the inside, and they're great to just really make that message loud and clear in the center. And then you can always just sign it on the back by putting a white piece on the back. So on this one, I decided to put just the happy birthday. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Granny Apple Green, since that is what I have as the base of my cardstock. And I'm going to pretty much put it right in the center. There we go. And then I'll put this in here. You see how nicely that fits in there. And it kind of, because that's a white piece on the inside, basic white, then it really kind of pops out a little bit with all the green. I think after I make this, I am liking it. I do like the pink flowers with the strawberries. And I like this card as it's turned out, but I do think that I prefer the ones with the roses for this card. But I knew that taking the time to color the roses on a video would be too time consuming to kind of go through that. I could have colored them in advance, but I also just wanted to show you that you have other options, and I think these are going to come out really quite nice like that. Yep, I'm happy with that. So the only thing you want to do is, I kind of look for an L shape because this is an L shape, and now I know I can put some glue on that L and know that it's going to adhere to that L shape of the card frame here. So I'm gonna just put this here like that, close it in, give it a nice press. I might look at the other side and make sure, yeah, I don't have any glue on the other side, so that's working fine. And now I'm gonna do the same thing here. And let's see what L shape I'm gonna go for here, if there's an L shape. I might just go across these and this. That's really helpful, these and this, huh? It only works if you're watching, not just listening to. But anyway, I think that's gonna work. So, and that way I kind of feel like the strawberries are pointing to the happy birthday, which I like. Now I am a bling person, and I am going to put some, these are our in color flat pearls, and the strawberry slush ones will actually coordinate. I heard them explaining on Stampin' Up that strawberry slush could be pinks if you need it to be pinks, and it can be red if you need it working with reds, and I think that's going to work okay for my pinks of these flowers. So I am going to start with a nice big pink one here, and a slightly smaller one here, and then a particular, no, I'm going to take the same size. There's 3 different sizes in these, and I'm going to put that there. Let's see how that comes out. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I hope you realized how quickly this card can come together from this video. That's why I do like using the ephemera pack, but I'm going to show you once again the other cards that we made with it. But here is a way to use those strawberries, flowers and just a happy birthday. This is the one that I just really love, that uses the Color in Yourself roses. And then I will show you that the first card I made with this design was my mother's Mother's Day card. And I just felt like I didn't put any designer series paper in any of this part. And I only just did those stripes down, and they blended in so much I didn't think they packed the same kind of wow, but I did love these roses, so I still love that. And that's what gave me the idea for the yellow one. And then here's one I made with my team. And this was a great card to make after the catalog came out, because we used the new stamp set with the birds, the new stamp set Layered Thoughts with the thank you, and then we used the blooms, can't think of that name right away, but anyway, we had a new printed designer series paper that were for the in color, and this is part of the stamp that you have a die that you get all of your sentiments all cut out at once. And so it was a great way with my team to show them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new products, 6, because we also, I don't know if you can see it, but we use that metallic rub-ons in there. Isn't that pretty how that goes? So I was able to show them so much product in this one card. But I hope that from all of this you get an idea of what a great fold this is, and that using that fully flowering ephemera pack really does save you time. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll leave me a comment and give me a like. Thank you.